Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell. What is up, everybody? I am Chris Knight. This is the Real Review 3000 with another episode of The Gospel According to Chris, where I bring on somebody out there in the YouTube nation. Many people who know, some don't. I don't know. That's why I do this. I do not pick them because of their subscribers, how many they've got, how many they don't have. I pick it by the wheel of names. That is how everybody on this show has been on this show, except for I think the first person or persons that were on there. I think I invited several people on, and then from that point on, I can't remember. It's been so long ago. This is the 47th one, I think. 47. Wow. Well, let's get right to it, guys. Today, we have a very special guest on The Gospel According to Chris. We're going to welcome Kylo, Tim Possible, Tim's Talk, all of those things. Many names, but great content, guys. Now, Tim's been a rising personality in our community due to his striking resemblance to, should I say, Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren. Go figure that right now. And also because of his witty charm. Great guy, great on streams. And he has a great Instagram and TikTok following and tons of shorts that are fun and entertaining. And then add to the many pop culture and movie discussions that he does, it's easy to see why he is poised for success. And right now, guys, we're going to introduce him. It is Tim Possible of Tim's Talk. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. All right. Not a problem. I want you, first off, like I have everybody else do, give the people a little bit of an idea of who you are, what you do, talk about your channel a little bit, any shows you got. Go ahead and run it all down for them right now.
So basically, I do TikTok, of course, because of Kylo Ren, and people like to hear this more, Kylo Ren. So follow me on TikTok at Tim Possible Official, where I hang out with all the Raylos because they're weird, but they still hit me up though. All right. No, on my channel, I like to have fun, but I like to make the conversation more productive, and at points, we like to make it more productive. But I cover everything like pop culture, anything superhero or Marvel, anything like sci-fi type stuff. So, but I think the thing I try to have at the end of the day, at least if we have like one good laugh on the stream, I think that makes the whole stream. It's like, yeah, I really had a good time on the stream. So basically, I mean, a lot of the stuff that Chris covers as well, really looking for, I know Kenobi, Star Wars, big Dragon Ball Z fan. So I like a little bit of everything. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Cool. All right. What days do you normally stream on? Are your streams on certain days?
Usually on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Okay. Cool. I know and when I went out there and I was doing stuff originally, it was just like, yeah, I'll go live now and do things like that. And I found out having a schedule, or at least certain days that people are like, okay, Wednesday, I'm going to go over to Tim's channel and boom, there he is. He's live. Or is he going to be live? Lots of us schedule stuff ahead of time. So that's always good to know. So Wednesdays and Sundays, right?
Yes. Sometimes
I've
on
been on.
Mondays, but like,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, this Monday I was like, well, I'm going Chris's channel, and I still want to see Doctor Strange again. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna wait on that. But yeah.
Let's talk about Doctor Strange real quick. What were your thoughts on it?
Overall, I saw, of course, I saw it in the theaters like everyone else, but
Mhm.
I was pretty pumped up about it. I know it seems like it's quite divisive, but it's doing really well in the box office right now. I think it's like 465 million worldwide. That's another thing I like to cover on the. That's why I like to do streams on Mondays sometimes because of the box office talk. But no, overall, I liked it. I don't think it's a perfect film, but it's very fun and a great cinematic experience. Does it have its issues and some lines are kind of cringe? Yes, but the action,
Mhm.
I love like the type of Inception type stuff. And are we getting to like type of spoilers type stuff here? Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, we're
I do.
good. Yeah. Well,
Okay,
wait. Let's do the guys. We're gonna be spoiling Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If you haven't seen it, watch it anyways. Because what does it matter? No, I'm just kidding. If you guys don't want to hear this stuff, please come back, watch the show after you watch it. Please watch it because listen, we're here to introduce Tim and put him out there, get you a little more traction, hopefully. But guys, spoiler alert. Said it. Okay,
yep,
go ahead.
yep. Spoiler alert, they fly now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there was something from that. Oh no, that's from Moon Knight. That's a joke from Moon Knight. But yeah, certain someone flies or whatever hippo goddess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, like no, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth the watch. Like I like the mind bender type stuff. It had that Sam Raimi feel, had like that horror genre, and it kind of had that like Spider-Man esque feel in a way, I guess. But it
Mm-hmm.
was very menacing, very mature. I don't know if I had kids like that, I would take my kid to it, but I like that horror element to it. Like there's a nice hallway scene or whatever where she's just kind of busting in and where she's reaching through like the mirror world. I thought that was fantastic. I love the scene where they're like, you see the notes. I know some people may have not liked that, but I like that because we've never really seen anything like that on screen yet. And I really appreciate like the imagination that went through this film. And so I enjoyed it. Shot like what's her face, Wanda. She killed it in the role. Fantastic. Like her
Yeah.
acting was incredible. Uh, but yeah, and Cumberbatch kills it. I like his dynamic with Rachel McAdams. I can't remember her character's name, but I don't know. In general, like I tend to not have more of like a, I try to have a little bit of a different take, but I try to be honest as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So like a rating, I probably like initially gave it like an 8, like coming out, or maybe a little bit higher. I think it was like, man, this was awesome. But like, of course, when you
Yeah.
see it again, you start seeing like the leaks in it. Or I don't think
Well,
it really had plot holes, but
I don't know. You see, I had to go back and watch it again too. And I have to say, what was weird is when I walked out, I was sitting there just kind of thinking, man, what do I think about this movie? Because I've spent so many months here where we were told after, I can't remember who the original director was. The original director cut loose, and they said, well, it was too dark, too horror, like it was too much of a horror movie. So I don't know. I probably should have known with Raimi coming in that they wouldn't lose elements of that. But I went in thinking I was going to get something different, and I got a Sam Raimi film that was. I'll be honest, it's a watered down Sam Raimi flick because he didn't go as like crazy as he does with horror and gore and things like that. But for a Marvel movie, I was like, oh wow, they did that. They did this. They did this, and it was like, wow, that's. I wasn't ready for it, and so I was processing a lot of stuff. I still am. I I really do think it was a great movie, but I'm still processing all that stuff that was in this. And like you said, a lot of this stuff, parts were knocked out of the park. Um, you mentioned cringe, American Chavez, when they start talking about her and her two moms, not that there's a problem with that. I really thought they might go really deep into some Bible thumping rhetoric about,
Yeah.
inclusion and all that. And they didn't. They did the same thing they did in Endgame, where they just kind of started on it, and it was really like, whoa, okay, they're going to do that, and then they walked away from it, like just like that. And I got to say, okay, that's great. There's inclusion in this; it's obvious, but they not. They didn't, I didn't feel like I was getting slapped with it. But
Yeah.
what would you say your favorite part was, or your favorite parts? Let's go with favorite parts.
Um, Favorite parts. Well, it starts off pretty like epic. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Um, but my favorite parts, I I like the music scene, or they're using the notes. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Um,
Yes, that was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And then other than, I don't know, I like the acting points where they're making like Wanda realize how like dark she is between like both the Wandas, and she finally she sees how much of a villain she's become, because I mean, she does have the dark hold kind of like that influenced her, and she's under that.
Hmm.
But for me, like it hit on like a different note. Yeah, there's more like flashy scenes that look great. I mean, like everything in this film, every action scene is like wonderfully done, or just you never know what's going to happen. Like if they're going to like throw them through like another dimension, or like with Doctor Strange and his girlfriend essentially, or his ex-girlfriend, they get thrown into like a whole different time period. Oh, that was a cool scene. All right, so they're going through like an animated world, a paint world, and like all
Hmm.
these different worlds. So I thought that was a really cool moment. And then there's a line. He's like, "Did we just go through like a paint world or something like that?" Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's
so
like, yeah,
something
it's not fun. Yeah, you don't. It's not fun because you can't eat there or something like that. Yeah, no, that was. I thought they might do more of that stuff.
yeah.
But no, I mean the going between dimensions really was like that was the scene, the first scene where they went through it. That was the scene showing all the different dimensions, and we did see a lot of quick blink if you miss it, things in there. They spent that time in the Illuminati. What you think of the Illuminati scene?
Oh, okay. So I know this is like controversial, right? Like between like everyone's has mixed opinions on. I've kind of listened in about it, but to me, it's I can understand the fact that they brought in all these cool characters, and there were some great moments. I was like, oh my gosh, Professor X, and they play the music. That was an epic moment. And then we see
Hmm.
Captain Carter, which was like teased in the What If. I
Yep.
already kind of knew she was coming, but I think the best one to see was. What's it, John Krasinski? I can't see his last name.
Oh, but Black Bolt.
No, the guy that played
Oh,
Mr.
oh,
Fantastic.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I know who. Yeah, okay, yeah, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that was
off. Yeah, Jim Halper off The Office. I'll just call him that, Jim Halper. But
yeah.
no, like I liked that scene. I thought the payout was pretty good. They set us all up. Maybe the fight scene should have been a little bit longer, but let's face it, like Captain America, Steve Rogers, would have got owned by Wanda easily. Wanda owned Thanos pretty much in Endgame, and she wasn't even like as clearly as powerful in this. She didn't even have the Darkhold. So, and what's Mister Fantastic going to do? Like he can only stretch, but I know he's like supposed to be like the smartest person in the world, and a lot of people are
Hmm.
criticizing the fact that Black Bolt like they gave away their weapon essentially because he's like, he can take you out, Wanda. But I love she's like, what mouth? And I thought that was a good moment. So I
You know
actually
what?
like that. Oh, good.
That scene right there, the mouth scene. I said this when we talked about it on my might have been on, yeah, maybe on the roll three. I don't know. We on Chaos Central we talked about this once. And I said the mouth scene, that the way they did it was exactly the way the Matrix wished they had done it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I mean, it's the same scene and very simple. It's like, well, what are you gonna, what mouth? And, but the way they did it when they showed the in the Matrix didn't look really great. It didn't
Yeah.
hold up. They just cut to him with no mouth. I mean, that's it, and it had a much better impact because it's like, And then the just the fact that the voice or the thing that his his beam or whatever you want to call it impales his head in. I mean, that was like, whoa, because that's graphic. I mean, if you ask
That's
me.
dark.
No, okay, yeah, and go ahead. I'll say some stuff after we get kind of through this part about the movie. But go ahead.
Yeah, like for me, I don't know. Like I didn't really have like I just wish the scene was longer and more of a battle. And but then again, like they're the Illuminati. You feel like there should have been a little bit more planned for whatever. But I guess how do you expect a wrecking ball? But then Doctor Strange is telling them she's coming, but they're like, Doctor Strange, you're the biggest threat, which I kind of like that angle there. Um, but I just, I like that scene, but I was like, man, they really went there for a Marvel movie, like on how dark, and I appreciated them taking risks, and I feel like it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's showing for the numbers because this has rewatchability. There's like other things I'm like, whoa, what did I
There's a
miss?
lot in it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
Um,
pretty much.
yeah, I know when I looked at it, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, but they killed off all these people." There's a good side of this and a bad side of what the movie does. One, because they've already introduced time travel in Endgame, there's time travel within this universe now. And now there's a multiverse, which actually gives us an infinite upon infinite upon infinite possibilities. I mean, literally, there's nothing that can't happen. So
Yeah,
just because we saw this Illuminati get destroyed, there's another Illuminati out there somewhere. Is it the same
yes,
characters? I don't know. But I think they'll bring back, because very much in the way they show this movie is you look like you look. Tim Possible looks like Tim Possible in every universe. Now, if we want to go off a scientific principle, what they believe is just because you are you here does not mean you are what you look like there. You know,
yeah,
so that is one thing, but they just do that to make it simpler to understand that's the same person. So they could use these actors again. They could use,
oh yeah,
because I think the Mr. Fantastic actor was perfect, and I hope they
oh
bring
yeah,
him back for a Fantastic Four movie because I want to see what Feige will do with the Fantastic Four movie. But I didn't have a problem with it because again, this is just one universe. The cool thing I noticed, and I kind of was like, wait a minute, they were using Ultron clones.
oh yeah,
And Ultron, because these clones are working with the Illuminati, must not be evil in this universe. So
yeah,
Ultron's still there somewhere. Then the last thing I took away from the movie, and we'll move on to another point here after a minute. The last thing I took away from this movie is that Wanda is dead, but I don't believe she is dead. I almost believe that she wanted Wong to see her kill herself and Doctor Strange to see her sacrifice herself, quote unquote. And yet, as she was doing that, she also transferred her consciousness to another one because they all obviously have those powers.
yeah,
So I kind of think she just transferred herself to another multiverse because she's got a 7-year deal now. They confirmed she has a 7-year deal halfway through March, I think, or March 20th, something like that. They're not letting this character go. It's too good of a character, be it good or bad. You could have, if they do another Doctor Strange movie soon, they could have a good version of her and a bad version of her and have them battle or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities they could go with. But overall, though, you said about an 8 right now is where you're at with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good. I think it's a good place where I'm at with it. I really liked it. I mean, I can't say I didn't like it. It just
yeah.
I'm sitting there because of what we got. The Sam Raimi feel of this movie was not what I was expecting. I was expecting more like the first one, and while we got some of what was in the first one, we got at Sam Raimi. I mean, the scene at the end where he's possessed the body, his other dimension body in his dimension, and then he controls all of those, and then she's fighting. That was like, wow, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
that was very next level. I didn't see that coming because like when we are seeing the trailers, everyone is speculating. Well, at least I was that was going to be zombie, like the one that got bit from What If.
mhm,
That's what I
yeah.
was thinking, but it wasn't. It was just like a totally different one.
Absolutely. Well, they didn't even have zombies in this. A lot of people saw the stuff in the trailer and thought it was going to be zombies, and really it was just reanimated bodies, not quote unquote undead. I mean, but it still had that feel. It was cool. Um, I mean, I think Doctor Strange is one of my favorite films, much like with the things you said, Inception, the otherworldly, the moving worlds and flipping things around, just the whole. Maybe I'm a geek just because I want CGI like that, but still, it's cool, and they do a really good job of integrating it into a movie. So, um, you know, let's switch it over to Obi-Wan. First off,
Okay.
I don't know if you follow Drunk 3PO. Jay does a lot of stuff. Doesn't do as much Star Wars as he used to, but he released something today that there's a leak out. And again, spoiler alert, if it's true, if it's not, this is a leak. I'm not saying it is true. I'm not saying it isn't true. Same things he went through the trope of, hey, I'm just giving you information, people. The leak is that the Inquisitor, Rhea, I believe it is, at the end of the series, she's going to, while Obi-Wan is off world, off Tatooine, she's going to find the Skywalker Ranch. And she's going to go in, she corners Owen, Beru, and Luke. And because she's an Inquisitor, she's going to go and she's ready to kill them. But then she remembers her Jedi training. She remembers who she used to be. And then she decides, no, I'm not going to do it. And she leaves him there. Reports back to Vader. And she said, I killed Obi-Wan. And Vader gets so pissed off and says, I couldn't do it. You can't do it. If I can't do it, you couldn't do it. And he basically murders her. Wow. If that's how Obi-Wan ends, let's just go right to this part of it. If that's how Obi-Wan ends, is that a good ending? Because again, as Drunk 3PO pointed out, that would be the expectation that this is about Obi-Wan, and at the end of it, it's not about Obi-Wan, it's about Rhea. What do you think of that? If that's a true thing?
Man, whose channel? I went on someone else's channel on Star Wars Day, one of my buddies' channel, and I kind of predict. Well, I said this is what's going to happen: that Rhea, by the end of the film, is going to be redeemed. Obi-Wan's going to mold on her, and she's going to become good. That's what I said last Wednesday. Okay. But man, I don't know. Like, I don't like leaks, but it's just like, if it's done well, I don't think it'll be that bad. But I feel like she's too much centerfold for them not to make her have a redemption. I was predicting that first she's gonna kind of save Obi-Wan or something, or let him go, and then she dies, and then she's kind of changed, because in the trailer we see blasters coming at her, and who uses, like, in general, it's like the stormtroopers using blasters. When we see Kenobi using a blaster, and he's like, so uncivilized, right? He has that line.
Yeah.
But I guess, what was the question? Just my thoughts on that, if they do that.
Yeah. What if they do the whole Rhea goes to kill Luke and Beru and Owen, and then she decides no, she remembers her training. She basically turns from the bad side to the good again, and then she goes back, tries to play it off to Vader. Hey, I killed Obi-Wan. He's dead. There's nothing there. There's we're done, basically. And Vader doesn't believe her and kills her. If that's the ending, what do you think? Because isn't that, again, kind of what they did with Boba Fett? Hey, listen, we're giving you Boba Fett, and then they show Mando and other things and say, look, our characters are cooler than your characters. Yeah. It's basically what it's saying, I mean, in a sense. But what do you think about that? Would you be okay with that ending?
Okay. Again, I guess winning, if it's done well, I guess it heals it a little bit, but then overall, no, because it's called Obi-Wan, and it's making her the star player of the team. Like, instead of, like, you have like Michael Jordan on the team, and you have maybe Steve Kerr. I don't know. And then you're making her Michael Jordan. So yeah, it's just like you're shortchanging the IP character. It's called, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And like what they did with the Book of Boba Fett, it was like Book of Boba Friends, right? And the best
Yeah.
episodes were the
Yeah.
ones with Mandalorian, episode 5 and 6, and they brought in all the fan service, bringing in Luke and Baby Yoda. It was nice to see him on screen, but it just totally takes it away from the overall story. And I guess I do have some, I don't like that because it takes away from Obi-Wan. And that's my favorite character in Star Wars. I know everyone thinks it's Kylo Ren, but I have some issues with that because Ian McGregor was on. He said that he wanted to come back for more content, for more Star Wars, which is great. But
yeah,
they shouldn't do that. Like, he should be like the one having like the more heroic story. It takes away from his shine. So, yeah.
I heard it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it today, and I was like, I guess I'd be okay. And like David said, it all depends on the build up. It's a thing of, do they present it okay? But yeah, at the end of it all, it's about, you say Obi-Wan, I want Obi-Wan. I wanted Boba Fett, and while I didn't hate the Boba Fett series. There was parts of it I'd look at it and go like, man, what are they doing here? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Part of it, and I've read a lot about it, so I kind of gave Boba Fett a pass because from the get go they were saying this is kind of Mando season 2.5. They even Filoni and Favreau both coined it as Mando season 2.5. So I was like, okay, they're just going to reintegrate Boba Fett back into the Mandalorian season. They wanted to give us some more Boba Fett, and then they gave us a little Mandalorian to give us a kickoff to the third season, maybe. I was like, okay, fine. But when you say Obi-Wan, there's nobody else you can bring in with Obi-Wan. I mean, if he's going to face Inquisitors, have him face Inquisitors. If you want to switch Rhea to the good side, you can do that. But to have her and maybe there is one way I could see this work. If the off-world thing, when Obi-Wan is off-world, that he's not off-world, or that it happens like in the second or third episode, where she comes, she tries to kill him, says, no, I'm not going to do it, walks away, and then goes back to Vader. Vader kills her, and then Vader's like, I'll do it myself, and knows that she was a Tatooine and comes that direction. Obi-Wan decides, oh shit, he's on his way, I'm going to go face him. That would be okay too. I mean, there are several ways that this could work. Or at the end, the 6th episode, she's there and she's about to go in or about to try to kill them, and Obi-Wan isn't off-world and comes up and says, hey, whoa, you weren't trained like this. You aren't this person. And he's the one that changes or that makes her turn back to the good side. If that happens, okay. But as long as he has a pivotal point in that scene, I'd be okay with it. But it has to have something where he is the pivotal turning point of that. Because if not, it's the Indiana Jones thing from the Big Bang Theory. If you've ever heard the Big Bang Theory of Indiana Jones, where the women tell the guys, it's like, Indiana Jones doesn't have to be in the movie. If he isn't in the movie, the Nazis get to the end fit quicker and they all die anyways. He only hinders the ending coming. He doesn't have anything to do with actually what's going on. They find the Ark anyways. They would have found it if he hadn't messed with anything. There's all this stuff. It's like he's just in the way of everything from the beginning to the end. So he isn't needed in there. If you do this, if you make her be the one that finds him and then goes and tells Vader, oh, nothing's going on, and then she gets killed and he doesn't do anything, why is Obi-Wan even there? What's the point of that? It's like there is no point for Obi-Wan. So,
Yeah,
but
it's like false advertisement, right? In a way,
exactly. And I hope they don't do that because let me go with another thing I heard or that I picked up on. So I was watching another one of these like quick shorts on YouTube. I know you do shorts. They're a great way to get out there and say things and do things. In a short with Ewan McGregor, he basically is going through saying, yeah, it's really great. I'm really looking forward to this. And, Hayden's coming back. We caught up in Santa Monica or somewhere, because we hadn't seen each other for a long time. Oh, I'm over here. He's up in Canada. and he's like, about a week or two before the shoot, we got together, and he says it was really good to walk on set, and it was like no time had passed. I was there, Hayden was there as Anakin, and went on and forward and forward, and I'm like, wait a minute. I went back and I watched it again. I said, wait a minute. Hayden was there as Anakin, not Darth. He doesn't say Darth Vader. So this theory that people have that they're going to meet again, I'm like, maybe they don't. Maybe it's more he remembers things, or he taps into the Force. And I think we'll have some stuff with Liam Neeson, where he talks to Qui-Gon. But I'm wondering if he taps into the Force and he can talk to the good side of Anakin, through the Force. Like Anakin's Force ghost is still there, because Anakin technically doesn't exist, but he can't fully project himself because he's trapped within Darth Vader. I'm like sitting there going like, man, the way he said it was like, so like, whoa, wait, he didn't say Darth Vader. And maybe that was designed so he doesn't give up anything. I don't know, but I was like, very funny that he said Hayden was there as Anakin. And I mean, I would play it. Actually, it's only a minute. Let me see if I can find this, because it just.
Gotcha.
I want to get your take on this. We're gonna do this here real quick. Let me find it. Go to history, and I shared this out with some of my friends here. Here we go. This is it. Okay, and we're gonna. I don't even know how to do this with shorts anymore. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this. Make sure we're sharing out the sound. Turn it down a little bit, and we'll share. Sorry, I should be more prepared, right?
Oh, that's fine.
All right, here we go. All right. All right.
To see Hayden. I'm so close with him. We've stayed in touch over the years, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. And as it got closer and closer to the shoot, we met in Santa Monica in a park, and we both walked along with our masks on outdoors, and we had this long catch up. It was so lovely. Like it just been years since we actually saw each other. Not for any reason other than just locations, and I was here and he was in Canada. But I love him so much, and we have this very special bond of making two of those first three films together, and so important for both of us, for our careers and for who we are. And so we had just so much to catch up on, life stuff and where we're at, and it was so lovely to see him again. And then to be on set with him again was oddly, it was like time hadn't happened or something. I looked across at him, we're on a set, and I look over at him, he's Anakin now, I'm Obi-Wan now, and it's like nothing had happened. Like I didn't see any age on his face. I just felt like the period of time between episode 3 and now just didn't exist or something. It was so peculiar.
So I caught that, and I was like, wait, he says he's Anakin, and then talks about seeing his face. So I'm like, is there some stuff going on here where he's not going to be in the mask and stuff? I was like, wow. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
Possibly it could be cryptic, like you're thinking, like you plug in like certain words, like is he inferring something? But then it could also be like flashbacks of like maybe they've done this in like other films where their consciousness makes the character, and that's why like Anakin's kind of bugging him that he failed him as a master, and they go that angle because Anakin at this point Kenobi, I know it's like 10 years after, right? After
something like that,
yeah. So basically,
well, Luke's like 8 or 9 around there. So yeah.
So basically, he would be kind of no, it's right. Basically, he'd be kind of like mentally, I don't want to say unstable, but kind of fractured a little bit because Anakin was his brother. He's like, Anakin, you're like my brother. So I really hope they dive into some of that, like flashbacks or like Anakin speaking to him, to his like guilty consciousness, because he's going to be like, what could I've done to do better? And there's that line in the trailer that Owen, very savage line. He's like, what does he say to him? He's like, something about like failing on people or whatever. I can't remember, but it's basically I was like, oh my gosh, Owen was savage there, but yeah, it could be
You
stuff
know,
like that. But
go ahead.
yeah, but then I heard there was two fights between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. So
That's what I've heard too. So I'm not sure, and I'm not of the mind of what they say in the first one or in Star Wars. You know, we meet again at last is all he says. It doesn't mean we finally meet again at last. It's just like, this
yeah,
is it. This is like Vader's done with him. This is it. This is the last time. I'm done. I'm going to finish this now. That's kind of where I get that now. Um, the Owen thing, that when I heard that leak that I said that Drunk 3PO put out there, um, I kind of wondered about one other thing about that. It would almost make some sense, even if they did that line, even if they went the way that Drunk 3PO put out. And again, it wasn't him that actually leaked it. It just he found the leak and he talked about it. I want to make sure, because I don't want to put words in his mouth by any means. Jay and I go way back, so I just want to make sure that I don't put words in his mouth. But one thing I thought about was, would that not make Owen even more mad at Obi-Wan? You were staying on this planet. They found out you were here. You brought them to us. And that then makes even more sense for Star Wars when he's sitting there going, like, that's just a crazy old fool, stay away from him. Like, he doesn't want Luke to get anywhere near Obi-Wan. And it makes then that makes a little more sense. The only thing I don't get is if they do go that route, it makes no sense that Luke's going to be sitting there at 18 or 17 or whatever it is in Star Wars and have no recollection of it. Because I'm sorry, I may not fully remember memories from 8, 9, 10, but I have some consciousness of it. And if somebody came to kill me, I'm pretty sure if I survived, I would have remembered it. So that's the hardest part to get past on that. But Anakin was Darth Vader in Episode 3. Episode 4 makes their second fight. Yeah, but we don't see there's 18 years, 17 years between Episode 3 and Episode 4. There's nothing that says, there's no way that it is worded in Star Wars that they can't have other occurrences between each other. I'd be fine either way. If they fight each other, fine. If they don't, they don't. But I'm not sure that it kills Episode 4. Now, what I would like to see, what I would have liked to see, I should say, is after they're done, that maybe they show the fight in Star Wars between the two. Because if you've seen the SC-38, that reimagining of that scene.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah.
I'd love to see that with McGregor and Hayden, and I would love to see how they do that. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they do that. Probably not, but I don't know. Anyways.
I have one gray area about that. I know people are like, yeah, they keep erasing canon. Well, in episode, was it episode 1? Or no, that'd be episode 4. He says, I am the master now, or whatever, and not the apprentice. I forget the exact line. Maybe in this, he's not considered a master, even still after 8 or 10 years after. He's not a master yet. So
yeah, he's under constant training. So because the Emperor wants him to be what the Emperor wants him to be. So he's going to train him exactly the way. And this is still kind of in that area. This is before Rogue One. So, I think this is like, they said like 5 or 6 years before Rogue One is going to take place in. All right. So we've put two things out there, and I'm not going to call the Ewan McGregor thing a leak. I'm just going to say this is interesting how he states Hayden as being Anakin, not Vader. Mm-hmm. But with that aside, with the possible ending leaked aside, what are your thoughts? Are you excited for Obi-Wan? Because you just said your favorite character. Newsflash, people. Newsflash. The guy who plays Kylo Ren's favorite character is not Kylo Ren. It is Obi-Wan. Yeah. First off, why is that your favorite character?
Confirmed. in the first one, I know in the original trilogy we don't see him as much, but I like the actor's portrayal. Was it uh, McGinnis or something? I forgot
Yeah.
I
Alec
should know
Alec
this.
Guinness.
Yeah, Alec
Or
McGinnis.
yeah.
I like the way that dude carried himself, and he seemed very like I don't know. He has this nuance to him, and then when we get to see the prequel trilogy, I like with all the. I think maybe because of more so content with the Clone Wars and all that, we really get to see his dynamic with Anakin, and he's always like consistent, and he's always outsmarting people rather than with like brute force, like how he killed or outsmarted Anakin on Mustafar. Anakin's
Mhm.
arrogance kind of got him killed, but he's always consistent. I like the fact that they teased he was a little bit more riskier uh, when he was younger. There's a line between him and Qui-Gon Jinn that kind of teases that. But then
Mhm.
he's always kind of like he's like consistent, and he has like some good quotes, and I think his performance in like the prequel trilogy was like just the best. And he's like space Jesus, right? Maybe that's a bad way, but
Oh, no,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, and then the epic like he's like I feel like I don't want to say he's underrated by any means, but like he's a underrated duelist. Like he takes out a lot of people. I mean, he Darth Maul, Qui Gon Jinn got owned. Then he takes out Anakin, and then I know he takes out Darth Maul again. But doesn't he? He takes out General Grievous.
Mhm.
So I mean,
He's
he's
crafty.
yeah, he's consistent and he's the overall package when I think of a Jedi, right? I know they
Mhm.
ruined Luke in this newer series and stuff, but he's always been what I picture a Jedi to be, and like a nice combination. So like I don't feel like Yoda. I feel like was a good Jedi, in which what we saw, but I felt like Obi-Wan was a little bit more well-rounded, in which I
Mhm.
pictured a Jedi to be. Just not so stuck in the old way. Like he still has a code, but he's more adaptable. Uh, so just kind of that's why I like him.
All right, cool.
But yeah,
Um, I mean, so my theory on a lot of this, with Boba Fett and with Obi-Wan, is that these are the remnants of the movies we were supposed to get. I'm wondering now if they're still planning on maybe doing the Vader thing, but they're going to do it as a series. And my problem with this is that I want movies. I still think they should have done Obi-Wan as a movie. I still think, especially getting Ewan McGregor back. I mean, I think the problem with some people for Solo, and I don't know what your opinion of Solo is, it was just the actor. It was hard to watch, and then of course there's the pansexual robot crap going on, which is like,
yeah,
why? Why do we bring this in here? It isn't necessary. I like Solo, but there are definitely moments it's like, oh my god, people just stop. Um, you know, I just kind of I look at it and I'm like, just because Solo flopped doesn't mean that if you got Ewan McGregor back, that if I mean, I still think they should have done this as a movie. I still think they need to do Vader as a movie. Um, but what are your thoughts about that? Are these series, Boba Fett, Obi Wan, if they do Vader, if they put that in the series, are these better suited as series, or should they just have said, we're going to give you a movie with these characters? And what would you have done if this was you? If you were in charge of these three properties, Boba Fett, Obi Wan, and Vader, what would you do?
uh, um, well, like I know you were asking earlier, am I worried about this Obi-Wan series? Absolutely. I feel like they're gonna, I feel like I'm really gonna love it or they're gonna botch it. As far as like these newer series, I think I think maybe Obi-Wan should have been a movie. I feel like it'd have been more epic. I mean, Ian McKellen is a fantastic actor. And then like the actor for the Book of Boba Fett, I don't feel like he could like absolutely carry a role because, or I guess Fennec Shan, that actress, would have more so been carrying it. It depends on the actor they're bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I guess it depends. I think The Mandalorian worked as a series. It
Mm-hmm.
really captured that Western vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, So it just depends. Darth Vader, I would say a movie. I don't think a series, because like what they do is it's too much side quest stuff in there that are kind of pointless. And I know that was I remember talking about Bad Batch with you, and that show it was hard to watch. I came back to it later just to finish it, but it just depends. But I do want them to move away from the OG characters, so there's no expectations. So I can just kind of because like I feel like a lot of us we love Star Wars and we love our OG characters and stuff, but they're kind of tarnishing their brand in a way by bringing these other characters, and I don't know why they feel like in order to make these other characters cool, they got to make them better than the original, and the original start having to like undo their arc, like Luke and all that. So I just want them to move in the outer rim like 1,000 years ahead, and just we can't talk about anyone or something.
I totally agree with that. They need to. I mean, I'm okay with Mandalorian, like you said. I was okay with Boba Fett being introduced, but if we're going to do that, you just separate Boba Fett and put him in that part. But if you do a series or a movie, you should have given us Boba Fett before he fell in the Sarlacc pit, and maybe then you bring in the I forget his name. I'm not going to butcher it, but the guy that plays him in the Book of Boba Fett. Then what you would do is after you gave your series or your movie with him before the Sarlacc pit, you could go. Hold on, sorry, I know noise, water as usual. This is lovely. I love how this works. All right. Anyways, they would have gone. They'd show, like I said, series or movie. You get somebody that's more reminiscent of that Boba Fett. Looks like that Boba Fett, thinner, the grayer, beat up armor, and you play that out. Maybe show the Cad Bane stuff that they may have gone through, and then you fast forward, and the closing scene of that series or movie would be the guy who played it in the Book of Boba Fett crawling out of the Sarlacc pit. And then you do the Book of Boba Fett where it's him, and because I think we don't get that story of who is Boba Fett. We get some of it in the Clone Wars, and so I'm like, I don't know. So I just feel like there's so much that they could have done that was better, and I think you're absolutely right. They're putting these new characters in to try to say, look, our characters are better than that character. Our characters are better than the characters you love, the OG characters, the George Lucas characters. It's like, let's not fight about this. Your characters aren't horrible. You just need to focus on them more and not worry about the OG characters. And when you have OG characters such as Luke, Leia, Han, you need to understand what you're working with. You need to give us the scene of all of them in the Falcon together. You need to and then you need to make sure your arc's a little better for Luke. Maybe I didn't necessarily hate the Luke arc. It made sense to me. We can talk about that at a later time. But there are definite things where they worry more about, are our characters good enough to stand up next to their characters? If you stop worrying about that and just focus on both characters being both characters, you will get a better product. But no, they have to have like the whole Mando scene. The Mando's got this nice shiny armor, looks pretty, all this stuff. He's younger, he's quicker, he's this and he's that. It's like, why are we doing this? So. And Shifty says Bad Batch is awesome. Final episodes are amazing in terms of how far the set pieces have come and the style of animation. They're able to bring actual tension through realism with what happens on Camino. I like the Bad Batch. I know some people did not. So that's everybody's got their own opinion of it. And so you're kind of the way I am. I'm not sure with the guy that they have as Boba Fett that they should have gone movie route. I think the episodes are fine. But definitely when you have Ewan McGregor, I think it serves better as a movie when you've got just the character of Darth Vader. I don't care if it's Hayden in it or not. Just a guy walking around as Darth Vader. You can make a movie out of that. I mean, and again, you have beginning and end points. So like you have a beginning point of, you could have started on episode 3. And soon after that, you can, if they do the Obi-Wan thing, you can integrate it into Obi-Wan. Then you move it, and the final scene is in Rogue One, where he goes on the ship and stuff. You can integrate these things within each other and weave a story together that works with the old, and you're making new. And then you move forward. And I think kind of what they did with The Mandalorian was they were trying to they're trying to mesh it with the sequel trilogy, which is fine. I'm okay with that. They just need to focus on how they do it, and I'm not sure they got that. So,
Yeah.
Final thoughts on Obi-Wan, though? Anything?
Fingers crossed. Or yeah, here we go. Fingers crossed. I really want this to be good. I don't want it to be like the Book of Boba Fett talk. Like that was really hard to get through, but I mean, it made for great memes. But I'm gonna call it. There's gonna be one great yes. There's gonna be one great meme to come out of it. There's gonna be some moment we're gonna be like, what is going on here? But I think that's the best part of fandom is being able to crack jokes about stuff we still like. So
I like researching online about wild animals. For example, turns out female koalas mate with a different male each year. Interesting. Nice to hear that. Games, movies, and comics are. All right. Well, we go about an hour. We're at 51 minutes right now, so we're going to get into the tough part of this. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. These 5 questions are quick fire questions. You got to answer them. If not, we actually have somebody close by who's going to put a bag over your head, chloroform you, and then put you in a. Yeah, you're not going to see it coming. I'm going to tell you right now. It's swifter than swift. I'm kidding. 5 questions. I call it the final 5. I normally would have a cool, graphic. If I showed you here, kind of like the final 5 I do on Chaos. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the final 5. So I got to fix that so I can use it over here too. That's for my final 5 factor fiction over on Chaos Central. So anyways, 5 questions. Give me your first. I don't care. There's no right or wrong answer. First question, Beatles or the Rolling Stones? I have asked this of every guest since I've come back and start this. Beatles or Rolling Stones? Beatles. Everybody has picked the Beatles so far. I am so happy. It's great. Excellent. Perfect answer. If you'd said Rolling Stones, I would have called you just horribly wrong, kicked you off the street. I'm kidding. Anyways, better character, Finn or Rey?
Finn.
I have somewhere around here, I have a graphic for my green screen that says Finn is my last Jedi because I wanted Finn to be the Jedi in that.
He had the most potential for sure.
I really thought that, but whatever. They did what they did. What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Revenge, or no, the Return of the Jedi. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Return of the Jedi, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I think of the original trilogy, I think Return of the Jedi is actually the weakest of all of them. It's more kid-like. It's like at that point, he's like, I can make so much money off these toys now. It's not even funny. Let's throw Ewoks. Let's throw this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I still like the movie. I just think it's the weakest of all of them. And actually, when I rank mine, I think it hits like in 4 or 5 range. It's kind of weird. People are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. But that's fine. You're perfect to answer it that way. What is your favorite Marvel movie?
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
That is nice. That's a good pick. I would say mine lies around there, or perhaps not Age of Ultron. That's horrible. I would say either that or the Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
Oh yeah.
When they're all together, I kind of like that one. But no, we're gonna actually tomorrow on Chaos Central on Anzo's show, the Chaos List. We're going to be ranking all 28 films. So guys, check that out. Yeah. So last question: what is your favorite non-Star Wars or Marvel movie?
Non-Star Wars or Marvel. Okay, so maybe The Dark Knight.
Ooh. So, all right, real quick bonus question here. So Dark Knight, it's very realistic. Like, what'd you think of the latest Batman movie, The Batman?
Oh man, I didn't think it lived up to the hype, but I really liked it. the pacing was way off. It shouldn't have been 3 hours long, but beautifully shot. I think Robert Pattinson did a good job. It was interesting that he was Batman majority of the film, but I did like that. So I'm sure we'll see more Bruce. I did like the villain overall. He was good, but towards the end, he seemed kind of wonky and kind of more so like the Joker. But he was kind of like a Hush, which I like that. I like the take. I think Jeffrey Wright was good as Commissioner Gordon. All the performances were great. Action was good. Overall, I like the film. I can't wait for the second one.
All right, cool. So that's all I have. I want to thank you very much for coming on and doing this wonderful show with me. I appreciate you coming on because, again, these are all about, it's all about you and, the different people who are on YouTube and stuff. So I really appreciate you coming on. I look forward to being back on your channel sometime. I know I've been over there once or twice, and I really appreciate the time that you give me when I do get to go over there. Guys, if you haven't seen him, you don't know, all of his information, including his TikTok and his Instagram, are down in the description box. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you go sub to him. Like I said, check out the TikTok and the Instagram because it's a totally different platform than here on YouTube, where he gets to do shorts and really fun stuff. But I'll let you talk about yourself one last time. Tell everybody about yourself, your shows, and all that. There you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, I know I didn't really talk about it at the start. Yeah, TikTok and Instagram, YouTube Shorts. I do like to do those because it's more of a creative aspect, more short form. I want to integrate that within my channel eventually. I've been talking about do that, and I got my Tim Possible channel still waiting there. I got Comic-Con coming up next weekend in Orlando, so I'll be vlogging some of that. Yeah, and then basically cover pop culture usually on Wednesdays and Sundays, occasionally on Mondays when there's a big box office film like this weekend, but I didn't cover it this week. But yeah, everything pop culture, a lot of Star Wars content, lightsaber stuff. So yeah, check me out in the description below. Thanks for having me on. I'll try to have you on as well soon. Sometimes I do shows on Saturdays too. I'm like, because that seems like a good night to do shows, like as far as numbers wise.
It can be. Yeah, but let me know. Let me know what you got open, and I'll let you know if my schedule can handle that. Because sometimes it just depends. But earlier notice is best for me. So yeah, guys, right here, the Wheel of Names. This is how you were picked, Tim. This is how everybody gets picked on the show. Like I said, I don't pick you because of how many subs you have. I want people to get to know the people in this community, and these are people who have said, "Hey, yeah, I'll spend an hour with you asking me stupid, lame questions." No, here we go. We do have Flipped Out coming up in a couple weeks. Oh, wow. We have Flipped Out coming up in a couple weeks or something around that time. So this is going to be who we get on next week, if you can do it. It's Deej Odyssey. So Deej, if you watch this after the fact, watch out. You're next. So with that said, guys, thank you very much. Thank you to my guest, Tim Possible. Thank you very much, Tim. Everybody check it out. And that's all. Thank you. Peace, guys. Out we go. If I can find my outro, it's like, where is it? Where is it?
Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell. Follow Chris Knight and The Real Review 3000 on these platforms. For email and Patreon, see the description box below. To reach The Ego, use the Twitter handle @TheEgo5150. We would like to thank the generous members of The Real Review 3000. Those members are JJ, aka Sithlord 3827, Anzo of Biggerford Entertainment, Yvette, Sean Stackhouse, Captain Trek, Jesse Ritchie, and Abraham Morales. Thank you for your support and donations that help us at The Real Review 3000 bring you, the viewer, better content. For information on how to become a member, click the join button below.